Today, just between 2009 and 2011, the FBI has admitted to Charlie Savage of the New York Times that they opened over 80,000 investigations without a factual basis. During that time period, I myself represented just 50 people alone, innocent people in the San Francisco Bay Area, including from the city of San Francisco, who were subject to untoward FBI investigations. Without a factual predicate. The reason, in part, that this is happening, as you heard from my colleague Nasrina, is because of the 2008 Attorney General guidelines, which were issued just 1 month before President Obama took office. These guidelines take the clock back to the COINTELPRO era, giving FBI agents leeway to do basically anything they want to surveil communities. SFPD currently has a contract in place with the FBI that puts our officers, JTTF officers, under the direct supervision of the FBI and mandates that they follow these guidelines. It's great that we've heard assurances from the SFPD. It's wonderful to hear Chief Sir say this isn't going to happen under my watch, but verbal assurances frankly mean very little when what is in writing and what is signed by the city says the opposite. The solution in front of you is tried and true. We know it's worked in Portland, and we know that it's successfully enabled local law enforcement to engage in counterterrorism activities with local oversight and local rules.
Thank you. Just a question. This might be for the speaker or for the supervisor, the sponsor, or someone else might be here, but those two police officers, are they paid for fully by the city and county of San Francisco, or does the FBI budget pay for those?
Remarkably, they are paid for by the city and county of San Francisco, but they are put under the, according to the 2007 MOU, what's signed in writing says that they are put under the direct supervision of the FBI. They work in the FBI headquarters in the federal building on Golden Gate, and they are obligated to follow federal guidelines.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Mohammed Hamidi. I'm involved with the Arab Resource Organizations in Center. I'm here to beg you guys, thank you. I'm not as eloquent as these people, but my family and I were so impacted by the stalking and privacy. We have no privacy. I even lost my job because they approached my colleagues and people thought that I am criminal. I'm not criminal. This has impacted my life, my family, my wife, my daughter. We didn't know who to talk to for 3 years. I know how to sum up 3 years in 3 minutes. It has a horrendous time for us. We are just regular people, you know. Just the fact you go just to grocery store, people following you. At the beginning, I went to police department. I told them that I have been stalked by some weird people. Then, like a week later, I've been followed by people, police in uniform, following me in the street of San Francisco. We can't even talk to the police now. I'm begging you to vote yes on this. It's a really civil rights issue. We are just regular people like everybody else. The fact that we're Muslims does not mean that we are bad people. We're just regular people. We're just living. I lived here more than 9 years. We have positive impact. We've been through up and downs of the economy, but we always have a steady life. We just try to be helpful in our community and our people. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I came to the city to have fun. So I went to the restaurant. They just opened it new, a Yemeni restaurant in San Francisco. Waiting for the waitress, and he took a little longer to serve me. I was waiting, and there is two customers, they were eating, and they were enjoying the food. So somehow I contact me, and they were asking me about the food, because my background is from Yemen. And I was explaining to them what is the food, what is the salta, what is the bread, what is the vegetable, how they make the rice. After that, after we finished the conversation, they asked me about where I work and where I live. So I told them, I live in Berkeley, California. I work in Oakland. I have my own business. They handed me their business card, so we could trade business card. And I'm trying to advertise for my own business through just like contact people to people. So I saw their business card. They were the strongest agency in the United States of America. So I was very happy and proud. I'm going to have customers, and they work for the United States government, FBI agent, ICE. One of them is the FBI agent. One of them is with the ICE. After that, I give them my business card. They call me, they contact me. I have many calls from them, and they want to talk to me. And they were coming to the shop, to my business, and they visited me, and I talked to them in the shop as they are customers. And after that, they keep coming, they keep introducing another local agency from Oakland to my business, and they keep coming until I was really suspicious of the activity. They come and they don't give me business, and I'm very upset because I don't have no business from them, usually not the way when you meet people. I contact several agencies, which is Human Rights and Agent Law Caucus, and I was amazing with the way they contact me, and they told me, you have right and you have things to do, and I wasn't even in the mood to be a political person or to stand today in this beautiful city. I just came to eat in San Francisco so I could enjoy it like the rest of my friends. They go from Berkeley, they have restaurant, they have different ethnic restaurant, and I want to enjoy it, and I end up to be in this position, and today I close my business to come to this meeting. So I argue to look further for to make San Francisco safe, and also to make the people safe first, and also to protect the law of the United States, which is the Constitution, and go back to it and see what is in the Constitution to help people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dear respected Dear respected Public Safety Committee members, my name is Adil Sumaha. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm an Arab American community leader and a human rights activist, originally from the country of Yemen. I'm an Arab American who has lived in this country for over 15 years. In all my time here, I have lived among many other Arab Americans who, along with me, are being mistreated for no reason, just because of the way we look and who we are. We are being harassed and mistreated by the U.S. law enforcement authorities. They treated us as if we were second-class citizens. And instead, we feel even less safe as a result of such biased and unacceptable acts of discrimination, spying and racial profiling that puts innocent people behind bars based on assumptions and illogical facts. We do not.
I'm not going to take too long.
أنا جاية من بلد.
I came from a country.
بلد عربي.
An Arabic country.
كان أول حاجة في البطاقة لازم تتكتب اسم الديانة.
The first thing it should be mentioned on my ID is my religion.
قبل الاسم.
Before the name is written.
هنا.
Right here.
أنا عاوز أعيش في حرية بجد.
I want to live in liberty, and I mean it.
مش عاوزة حد يراقبني من غير ما أعرف.
I don't want anybody to follow me or surveillance me without my knowledge.
لو عنده سبب أكيد يراقبني.
If they have a good reason to follow me,
من حقه.
it's his right.
لكن ما فيش سبب.
But without a reason,
مش من حقه يراقبني
He has no right to follow me.
علشان ما يوجدش أمراض نفسية
So we wouldn't have any psychological diseases
ولا يجعل تفرقة بين الناس وبعضها.
and will not make people apart from each other.
دي بلد جميل.
Hi, I'm Dr. Maysa Hamza. I'm a psychologist. I'd like to discuss the psychological impact on the individuals. There's the intrusive phase and the denial phase. They experience hypervigilance, increased startle reaction, intrusive repetitive thoughts. Their feelings get disturbed and their behaviors, they have difficulties concentrating and emotional instability, sleep and dream disturbances. The physical symptoms are like diarrhea, sweating, nausea. They experience a lot of difficult things, compulsive repetitions, and sometimes various forms of self-medications like using alcohol, drugs. There's also the denial phase that they go through, and there's a host of defensive, distortive mechanisms that they encounter, and there's a lot of difficulties that they continually experience, including fear. Like one of the persons that spoke about her personal experience, she talked about fear and she was crying. It's very difficult on an emotional level and psychological level what these people encounter.
After September 11th, we opened up our doors to FBI. We invited them, and I am the liaison for Sabah for the outside world. They came in, we welcomed them. However, they started questioning me that if I have been to Iran or anything. I have nothing to do with Iran. I had to get an attorney and to make sure that if they want to question me, they have to go to a grand jury. Anyway, then they sent informants. We kicked the informant out. Now Sabah has an anti-terrorist list that all the information, my name, you Google, it comes up. It has been 2 years. We're not able to get that name off, and all the officers of Sabah.
I'm a staff attorney at Muslim Advocates. We're a national organization that works to guarantee the civil rights and civil liberties of Americans through legal advocacy, policy engagement, and civic engagement and civic education. Over the past few months, and particularly in the last few weeks, we as an organization have been engaged with our partners in New York about the continuing revelations of how the NYPD is violating the civil rights of law-abiding New Yorkers. And it is doing so by targeting communities for massive abusive surveillance practices based not on any evidence of individualized wrongdoing or suspicion of criminal activity, but based solely on their race, their religion, ethnicity, or national origin. And this should sound very familiar now, given all the testimony that we have heard today. You know, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the primary controlling document that delineates the SFPD's participation with the FBI's JTTF allows for this kind of activity to take place here in San Francisco. And the MOU between the SFPD and the FBI currently enables the SFPD to spy and collect intelligence on community members, including through the use of informants and infiltrators. So just given how we've been watching over the past few months, how these kinds of surveillance practices have been playing out in New York, I think it's really important that we not allow this to happen here in San Francisco. The ordinance before you will not only require the SFPD to comply with California law and San Francisco standards, but it will also put into place direly needed oversight mechanisms to prevent abuses from happening in the future. Thank you very much. Hear from community members every day about how this impacts their daily lives and how they go about their work. And, you know, we have read reports even of, you know, in mosques, you hear congregation leaders saying, well, you know, because of the infiltration of FBI agents, you know, coming in sort of asking questions that seem really benign, you know, it's had a chilling effect on our congregation. We have people coming to us and saying, you know, we're afraid to enter the space where we're supposed to come for our prayers because we don't know if the person that we're talking to is in fact an FBI agent. In terms of the ethnic mapping program, it's a very, very similar situation to what I just described. You have certain communities that have certain geographical areas that have a concentration of ethnic communities, and you know, FBI agents are being sent into those communities, not just to mosques or to, you know, community spaces of, where Muslims are, but also to cafes and clubs, and asking questions in those sort of settings as well, and then reporting back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jimmy Shamia from the Grocers Association in San Francisco. I stand before you today in full support of Supervisor Kim's SF Safe Civil Rights Ordinance, and we urge you to add your vocal support to the growing coalition behind this legislation. As representatives of a robust neighborhood grocers association consisting of 450 members, we continue to advocate for and organize the community of minority-owned small businesses that play a crucial role in neighborhood stabilization. This legislation goes a long way towards reaffirming the city's previous commitments to civil rights for all San Francisco residents, as well as ensuring San Francisco has a local oversight of the San Francisco Police Department's interrogation and surveillance techniques. It provides guidelines for intelligence gathering that ensure that our minority small businesses, mosques, churches, and community organizations can continue to develop trusting and mutually respectful relationships with local police. It is imperative that we work together to create safe and healthy neighborhoods, and our small business owners are a critical component of this model. They are the eyes and familiar faces on the street every day, greeting customers, providing jobs to local residents, sometimes working around the clock to provide important neighborhood services. In order to maintain an open and effective working relationship with our neighborhood police, we must first safeguard and prioritize an environment of trust and respect. We are a hardworking and tight-knit community and deserve the opportunity to contribute to our local economy and social fabric without fear and harassment. We hope that you are able to value the unique and important role that we play in our respective neighborhoods across the city and ultimately defend our civil rights. We ask for your support in helping achieve a better San Francisco that is safe and welcoming for all.
At the core of CAA's work is immigrant integration, increasing access to civic engagement opportunities, and facilitating trust between the community and city agencies and law enforcement. Based on documents obtained by the ACLU, we know that the FBI targeted San Francisco's Chinese American community. These FBI assessments were based on harmful, offensive racial stereotypes. They undercut the core values that CAA stands for. By restoring local oversight of surveillance activities, we believe this ordinance can begin to rebuild trust that is quickly eroding in the immigrant communities we serve. With the passage of this ordinance, we hope San Francisco can safeguard our civil rights and embrace rather than alienate the diverse communities in our city. Thank you.
Hello, Supervisors. My name is Jody Schwartz, and I'm the Executive Director of LYRIC, a 23-year-old nonprofit based in the Castro working primarily with low-income LGBTQ youth up to the age of 24. 73 of LYRIC participants are youth of color, and 11% are immigrant youth. With so many of our queer youth struggling to find safety and acceptance within their families and within their communities, it is our responsibility to ensure that our city agencies, including our police department, act within the confines of local control, local values, and local oversight. Only then can we legitimately say that we are working collaboratively, nonprofits, public agencies and officials, community advocates, to ensure a safe community for all. I'm here today to voice LYRIC support for the Safe San Francisco Civil Rights Ordinance and give appreciation to Supervisor Jane Kim for her leadership in bringing this legislation forward.
As a MEMSA communities, we recognize that the policies that we're facing today, that the injustices that we're facing today are extraordinarily racialized and are not specific to us, but that we continue to live on this legacy from a historical racial experience that many communities of color, all communities of color have faced in this country and inside of San Francisco. And I would just like to remind us that inside of San Francisco, we take pride on being one of the first to have addressed it in those times, and we should be taking pride in being the first to address it in this time when it comes to our communities, MEMSA communities. We're still talking about racial issues. This is still affecting us today. Maybe it's not as explicit as it was in the 1960s during the Civil Rights era, but it's the same thing happening over and over again through history. I urge you, our communities urge you to pass this ordinance and to continue the fight against injustice and racism from here on out.
Good afternoon, supervisors. My name is Cynthia Munoz. I'm the immigrant rights organizer at Causa Justa Just Cause, and Causa Justa Just Cause works with Latino immigrants and African American folks in San Francisco and in Oakland. And our members and clients come to us because they're having issues with their housing or with racial profiling and harassment by the police. We are here today to urge you and demand that you take immediate action to protect the rights of all San Franciscans. Last December, you supported us in passing a resolution limiting the collaboration between ICE and local police. We are very happy that that happened, and we're looking forward to implementing that, and we're excited to see that something like that can happen to minimize the impact that the FBI surveillance and the intimidation and the profiling that is happening in these communities, to limit that and to end it. And so we're very happy to be here supporting. Our members are very excited that this is happening, and we want to urge you. San Francisco's always done things in the, breaking ground and protecting civil liberties and civil rights of all people, and so we're excited to have this in front of you today, and we hope that you vote for it, and we hope that we can be helpful in supporting it as it moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Munoz.
Good afternoon. My name is Noor Shamas. I'm the immigration attorney at the Arab Resource and Organizing Center, AROC. And through my work, I actually have a lot of contact with many members of the immigrant communities and the MEMSA communities that we work with. We receive a lot of complaints about the fears and apprehensions of members of our community because of experiences that they've had. We've had members of our community be interrogated and investigated by the FBI for reasons unknown to them. We've had members of our community who are actually asylum applicants, and while they're applying for asylum, instead of receiving the safety and protection that they are seeking from this country, they are instead interrogated and investigated by the FBI for possible connections to certain groups. Many times, those are the very groups these people are seeking protection from. And this type of action by law enforcement agencies does not in any way provide safety or security to members of our community. What it does is it intimidates them, and it has a chilling effect on them, preventing them from engaging in political, religious, and other constitutionally protected activities. And for this reason, AROC strongly urges the passage of this bill so that San Francisco is not a party to this type of action against members of our community. Thank you.
The City of San Francisco would be well served to join communities around the country seeking to limit otherwise unchecked and largely secret intelligence gathering activities by their local police departments. First and foremost, the Board of Supervisors should approach any collaboration with the FBI with a healthy dose of skepticism. Both the long-standing history and the more recent record reflect that the FBI shares little of San Francisco's respect for civil rights and civil liberties. It is in this context that the Board of Supervisors considers the Safe San Francisco Civil Rights Ordinance to reinforce important local limits on the authority of San Francisco Police Department to collect intelligence about the constitutionally protected activities of diverse San Franciscans. On the East Coast, the New York City Police Department has recently endured widespread criticism for its serial disregard for civil rights and its surveillance of peaceful people based on their beliefs. This same pattern of secrecy, surveillance, and unaccountability demonstrated by NYPD has long been the norm at the FBI. While the New York City Council has disclaimed capacity to meaningfully conduct oversight of NYPD, this board need not resign itself to similarly wringing its hands in the face of systematic, ongoing civil rights abuses enabled by a public agency under its jurisdiction.
This has been an ongoing issue for many years, really over the last 10 years here in this country, in terms of its impact to the Muslim, Arabic, South Asian community. Of course, historically, we have seen racial profiling and other types of profiling for decades here in this country, and this is just a continuation. It's a different target, it's a different community, but many of our communities in the past have historically been targeted by the FBI under the guise of national security and keeping our country safe. But what in fact is instead happening is that we are making people feel unsafe. as residents of the city. And I think that is why it's so important that we have this ordinance in front of us today. And I do want to thank my colleagues again for co-sponsoring this. We do have 6 co-sponsors for this ordinance as it stands today. And I just want to appreciate our colleagues for coming out so early in support.
So my heart is heavy after listening to all of the testimony. I'm exhausted, not by the length of the testimonies, but by the content. And I'm sorry that people have to live with this type of fear and anxiety every day of their lives, constantly looking over their shoulders or and just not being certain whether or not you'll be the next one targeted. As many people mentioned here today, many of their friends have just been sort of randomly assaulted by this sort of terrorism on behalf of, our a government agency. So I'm just really saddened to hear that people have to live with this constant threat. And
I was shocked by how great the police chief, Mike Reese from Portland, in the memo that came to us from yesterday, where he states that the Portland Police Bureau is committed to a model of community policing in which a positive connection between the police and the community contributes to the well-being of our city. That's speaking about Portlandia. And our mission statement includes a goal of working with all citizens to maintain human rights. And it goes on to give a very good statement. We need those values in San Francisco. We need to reestablish them. And I just wanted to say that thank you, everyone, for protecting civil liberties and civil rights for everyone, for creating a safer communities, as Supervisor Kim has said, and in a lot of ways respecting San Francisco's values of protecting these interests and making our communities safer. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
People, the experience is real. The experience of discrimination, the experience of oppression is real, and that these involve government workers, government agencies. We have to make sure that we're creating a more level playing field to protect ourselves and ensure that government's not playing as active a role in that kind of oppression. And so I see this legislation as a really good tool for doing that, and I want to support it. I'm already a co-sponsor of it as well, and it's something that I think we can all be proud of moving forward, because we are assuring that we are making our government, putting a firewall between abuses of our government and real protections for people. So.